Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be doing a comparison between Oud Silk Mood Eau de Parfum, the original Silk Mood, to the Extrait version of the same fragrance, and we're going to do a full review of both. 2 weeks ago we did the same video for the original Oud, now we're doing Silk Mood. So we'll start with Silk Mood Eau de Parfum, the EDP. The note listing for this one is bergamot, oud, papyrus, gaiac wood and rose. So what I get from this is there's a little bit fresh in the opening. I don't get a whole lot of bergamot, but there is a fresh quality. It's a little bit green, and you get the rose quite kind of straight away, which is a kind of brighter, kind of fresher rose. So for me, the opening is rose that feels a little bit spiced with some kind of slight greener nuances. After about 10 minutes on my skin, I start to notice the oud-y accord, or the woody kind of notes in this coming through a little bit more. And you start to get this kind of blend of woods and rose together, essentially. This to me smells more like the classic rose-oud combo, a little bit more Middle Eastern in style, but very nice, very pleasant. I think has an almost mass appeal to it. It's easy to wear, it's likable, it's very unisex. But at the same time, there's a lot of fragrances that use similar notes, that have a similar kind of vibe, so it's not overly unique is my only kind of criticism, so to speak. But it's nice. You get rose, woods, you get this classic, like I say, rose-oud kind of combo. The woods in this are not animalic, they're not dirty, they're not funky, they're very, very smooth and clean woody accord. I think the gaiac wood in this, as it dries down, lends itself to being just a little bit smoky, a little bit almost meaty. Like when I smell gaiac wood, it's got this almost barbecue kind of smoky meat quality to it. And I think you get a little bit of that kind of smoky quality coming through in this as it dries down with the woods. I find personally that there's not a whole lot of change with this particular fragrance. A clean rose with these slight green nuances going into a more deeper, smooth, mellow, woody accord, blended with the rose, and then the rose will eventually disappear and you're left with this oud accord, this woody kind of base note which is a little bit musky. Quite clean and smooth and mellow, and just leaves you with a nice woody dry down. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, really. I find this one very pleasant, very easy to wear. I prefer it over the original Oud and the Oud Extrait. In terms of performance for this, I would say skin scent at the 5-hour mark. Longevity finished about 7 hours. Projection sillage is modest. It's not as strong as, let's say, Satin Mood from the same line. Satin Mood is very, very strong. This is not as strong as Satin Mood, but it's not bad. It will give you, an okay sillage projection in the first hour or two. Just not as strong as Satin Mood, but very pleasant. I like this one. This has got a thumbs up for me. I would say this one, very unisex and colder weather, autumn, winter, in my opinion. I think quite versatile. I can imagine somebody smelling great in a suit wearing this. I can imagine jeans and a t-shirt. I can imagine anything in between to pretty much any occasion. The only place I wouldn't wear this is to a funeral or in the office in a close environment with other people. Apart from that, I think fairly versatile. I don't think it'll ever offend anybody. Moving on to Silk Mood Extrait. Smells different to the EDP version in the top. This one has a more intense note of what I kind of perceive as saffron, or something along the lines of saffron. This kind of fresh spice, exotic, spicy kind of quality. Saffron again is not listed in the notes, but I just get a vibe of something along the lines of saffron personally. And again, it smells like a Middle Eastern rose-oud combo. Straight off the bat, there are other fragrances that have this kind of ballpark kind of vibe, shall we say. I get, again, the rose, which is fresh, bright, crisp. This doesn't have the jammy, sweet quality that other rose-oud combos have. This has a little bit of sweetness, but like I say, it doesn't go jammy and it's not overly sweet. I think it's actually quite well balanced. It retains enough woody kind of quality to not, like I say, go jammy or too sweet. In my notes, I write that there's an interesting change in this after about 15-20 minutes. I get something along the lines of something that reminded me a little bit of clove at first, which again is not listed. but a cooling, fresh, spicy kind of note that reminded me a little bit of clove essential oil. And then it changed. And then from clove, I did wonder, almost cardamom-like, again, a cooling, fresh kind of spice. And then it changed again. And then I felt like maybe it was actually the papyrus giving this kind of almost mentholated, kind of fresh, spicy, green quality. I'm not quite sure where it's coming from, but it took me through a journey. The initial opening, I felt like, was different to the original EDP. It's more kind of exotic in a way. It's kind of that saffron-y kind of vibe that I felt like was saffron. Fresh, kind of more unusual, exotic kind of opening. And the rose, I think, is actually brighter and more kind of pushed forward, I would say. You get a stronger kind of impression of rose in the Extrait version for me. But as it dries down, within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they start to becoming very similar again. And I would say after an hour and a half, they're pretty much identical. I think most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the EDP and the Extrait after a couple of hours. They smell pretty much the same, I would say. I would describe it as woody, smooth, musky, rosy, again, Middle Eastern kind of rose oud kind of combo, but very nice, kind of westernized, not completely Middle Eastern. It's more of a Western palette. But yeah, I enjoy both of them, to be honest. I think I probably prefer Silk Mood Extrait. I prefer the opening of it. I like the kind of whatever it is that I'm perceiving that reminds me of saffron, which I'm presuming it isn't because it's not in the notes. But it's quite nice. The rose accord, again, is a little bit stronger. I think it smells good. My preference would be Silk Mood Extrait from the two. Again, like the EDP, you get a little bit of that Gaiac wood coming through in the base, which gives it this kind of almost smoky, kind of thicker, meaty kind of quality to the wood. I'll just go back to the EDP for a second. That one lasted kind of between 5 to 7 hours. The Extrait lasts between 9 to 10 hours. So you are going to get better longevity with the Extrait. I don't think the projection in sillage was any better. Probably about the same. It just lasts longer on the skin. So, you know, call it three hours or so more in longevity. If you like rose as a note paired with, you know, deeper kind of very smooth woods that are not animalic, that are very clean, very smooth, that are not overly sweet. This has no fruity notes, for example, no candy floss notes. It doesn't go in that direction like a lot of rose ouds do. This doesn't have that kind of jammy sweetness that a lot go in that direction of. So if you like the idea of rose and, you know, deeper kind of very smooth, very easy to wear woody accords, then you might want to give it a try. Altogether, I would say the original oud is not my taste. Oud Extrait I don't like. Silk Mood is good. Silk Mood Extrait is better. At least in the top, after 2 hours, they smell pretty much identical, I would say. So if you want to save money, just buy the original because they're going to smell the same in the dry down. The Extrait will give you a few hours longer in longevity though. My overall favourite from the oud line is the original Oud Satin Mood Eau de Parfum. Personally, I think that one is that's my jam. I think it's a beautiful perfume. But these two would be my second best after Satin Mood. I would go with Silk Mood or Silk Mood Extrait. I'd wear both personally. I think they're both very unisex. I think they're both very easy to wear. Again, the Extrait version fits all the same kind of vibes that I mentioned for the original EDP version. Same occasions, same unisex vibe. There will be some men that might find it feminine because of the rose, and some people think floral is women. But, you know, in general, it is, I think, easy for a man to wear if you're not scared of florals, so to speak. I really like them. I think they're good. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the comparisons of the EDP and the Extrait. Not much difference between these two, I would say, to be honest. The only difference is in the initial opening of the first hour is a little bit different, and then they end up smelling the same. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
One time he disappeared for 2 or 3 days. When he came back, they asked him where he'd been, and he said, "Oh, just sailing."